Is my hair okay? Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, we are going to be digging into this Subaru 2.0 engine. It was overheating on me, and now the head gasket's blown, so it's going to be the full deal. Let's start taking it apart. Welcome to Man Time. Before we get started here, let's go over the situation. The situation was the engine was overheating. There was no temperature sensor, warning light, anything in the vehicle. So if your car's overheating in one of these, I guess you're just kind of out of luck until it blows up. Thanks, Subaru. If your engine temperature sensor light didn't go off like mine did, and it just starts knocking and dumping oil into the antifreeze, well, then you've got a big problem on your hands. So that's what happened to me. And I thought it was the, so on this car I replaced out the thermostat, water pump, and radiator, because I replaced out the thermostat and water pump, and it was still overheating. Temperature sensor light wasn't coming on, doesn't have a temperature gauge in it, and as I was pulling into my driveway, it ruptured the top hose, so then I replaced the radiator, thinking that was the last piece of the puzzle. A couple months later, it's overheating again, still no temperature sensor light, so... we are gonna first take the, and one thing you can do to check the flow on your radiator is drop that lower hose and then flush it with water, and that's what I'm gonna do. So let's look and see how much fluid comes out of that lower hose when I drop the hose, and see if we can't see if it's clogged again. Yeah, let me get this upper rad hose out of the way. I guess this is gonna stay full of fluid, so I guess it really doesn't matter too much. And then we'll be able to see right down there to that lower radiator hose, and see how much fluid is draining out of there and how quickly, it's draining out of there. So this lower rad hose, I think it's going to be, let's see here, I think it's going to be both the squeeze type clamp and the screw on type. Nope, both pliers type. Oh, great. Okay, let's see what comes out. Oh, yeah, so it's flowing pretty good. Hose fluid. So here's our engine, and the hardest part here is all of these electrical connections. I mean, they're just so difficult to get off. That one didn't really prove my point, but most of them are really difficult to get off. I love this tight 180 degree bend there. They made some really smart wiring choices with this one. But you want to kind of just, systematically go through and take stuff off of here. Like for this, there's going to be all these hoses that are connecting this down to stuff down here. So, you're going to need basically 2 screwdrivers and a set of pliers, which my pliers have gone away from me here. But I've got the exhaust disconnected there. Of course, I got the radiator out. I got my new water pump right here. And it was strange. I did a little test where I was pressurizing this crossover tube here. And water, I had filled it with water after all the antifreeze drained. And water was coming out down on the other side below the water pump there. And of course, on this one, you have to drop the exhaust to change the thermostat out. So that's... just smart engineering there. But I think I'm going to start by just getting this bracket, this alternator, and fuel lines, all these, vacuum lines, getting those disconnected out of the way. Got my intake off of there, or inlet to the intake, and then get this intake off of there and go from there. So this is the moment of truth. Did we get everything disconnected that we needed to get disconnected? The answer is no. There's a metal line that goes into there and into there. Two goes there. Right. Let's try it now. There was some covers on either side here, 2 bolts that hold this valve cover on there, and then now I think we're free. There was 2 screws with a metal deal that's going inside. Oh, and then yeah, I didn't know where the fuel line was going to want to go, so I left. Let's see here, is that going to want to come? Why are you so far up in there? Jesus, what is this thing doing? So there's a metal tube that kind of like wraps up and in to this intake manifold. Man, I love the sound of that plastic. This is just high quality automobile written all over it. Yeah, here's our fuel line. I've got it disconnected from the rails. And then got it disconnected there. Now there's nothing else holding it in except this little pipe. And you would think it would kind of like snake out of there, but I guess not. I guess we'll be taking it off from down here. Yeah, see this thing, this is what was holding us on there. Oh, you got to twist it upside down and in. Oh, that's just smart engineering there. So you have to take the throttle body off to get the intake body off. That's great. And I like to store all this stuff in the car if I can, like, you know, back seat, on the floor, in the trunk, wherever you got room. That way it all kind of stays together. See, this here runs to this crossover tube, which is meant to carry antifreeze. Yeah, so I've got going to the heater core here, from here, and then it goes down through here. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to pull the engine anyway, so at this point I'm just trying to determine, like, what's the fewest, smallest amount of fasteners I can remove to get this engine out. Alright, curiosity killed the cat, huh? I've got to see what's inside here. There we go. Yeah, curious how to get these old hoses from an overheated engine off. There you go. Well, shoot. That looks clear. And these hoses are clear. Why is this overheating? Alright, I'm pulling that new pump off. Man, that's frustrating when a new part is the cause of your problems. I mean, even though it's got a blown head gasket, that should not stop it. That should not stop the fluid from flowing through the system. Because it doesn't have milky oil. I mean, that's the deal, right? It's not like I'm losing all my antifreeze to the crankcase. fresh oil. I mean, it's still clean. I just changed the oil. Isn't that how it always happens, though? You change your oil, get a fresh set of tires, fill up the tank, and then your head gasket blows from just driving to lunch. That's how it happens for me. See? Working perfectly fine. So it wasn't this. And it probably wasn't the factory one either. So I'll just put it back on. No real smoking guns here, but if you've got something down below that you found on your Subaru where it was overheating and you can pinpoint and say, hey, you know, this is exact thing was happening to my Subaru and this is the thing that fixed it, man, help me out down there below. All the men out there who come to this video, maybe there's a comment down below there where somebody's figured out why it's overheating and what the solution is beyond the thermostat, water pump, radiator, and hoses. So, anyways, stick around for part 2. We're going to be pulling this engine out, getting the heads off of there, rebuilding it. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. Anyways, get out there, have you some man time too.